up, and every phone came up as the crowd split, and I walked straight toward him. Connor's hands came up. He thought this was it. I stopped in front of him, held out my hand, and the chanting died. He stared at it, and then so did everyone else. He took it, and I pulled him in and held tight. "You're not your father." I felt him break, his whole body shaking against mine. The toughest kid in school crying into the shoulder of the kid he'd been shoving into lockers for 2 years. I let go, turned, and walked out. The crowd split to let me through, and nobody said a word. I kept my promise. I brought my dad's war medal to a pawn shop, and the owner tased me. My dad passed away 2 months ago, and I needed rent money. I set the medal on the counter and asked what it was worth. In a thick Russian accent, he asked where my dad got it. I told him a Russian oligarch gave it to him years ago. He asked where my dad was born. I cut him off. "Indiana, just tell me what it's worth." He said, "Let me check," and walked into the back. I could hear him on the phone, same accent but faster. He came back holding something behind his back. An electrical current ripped through my body and I hit the floor. He grabbed the medal off the counter and bolted out the back. I chased him into the alley. He was old and I was faster. He made it to his car, locked the doors, and cranked the engine. I put my elbow through the driver's window, grabbed his collar, and reached for the keys. He floored it and dragged me half a block with my feet scraping the asphalt. I bit his cheek, ripped out the keys, and the car spun into a curb. I punched him, took the medal back, and walked home bleeding from both arms. 2 men in suits were standing at my front door. The first one held up a badge. "CIA, we just want to talk." I blocked the doorway. "That medal was my dad's. I don't have to show you anything." The lead agent stepped closer. "If it's stolen property, you do." I pulled out my dad's birth certificate and held it up. "It's not stolen. He was born in Gary, Indiana. A Russian oligarch gave it to him." The agent took one look, tore it in half, and held up the pieces. "This is the exact paper they used to forge documents during the Cold War." I looked at the 2 halves of my dad's name sitting in a stranger's hands and nodded. I sat in a cold room for 6 hours. The lead agent finally walked in, set the medal on the table, and opened a file. "Your father's real name was Dmitry Kespov, Russian spy turned international thief, wanted in 17 countries." He closed the file and slid the medal across the table. I brought it in to make rent. Turns out it was worth 17 countries. I was fishing across the river when I noticed a little boy at the edge of the water with his iPad and nobody watching him. His mom was sitting 5 feet behind him on a blanket, earbuds in, scrolling on TikTok. The kid looked about 3. 20 feet past them was a bridge where the water got fast and deep. I cupped my hands around my mouth and yelled, "Hey!" across the river, but she didn't even look up. Then the boy leaned forward and the iPad slipped right out of his hands into the water. I set my rod down on the bank. I knew this wasn't going to end well. The boy jumped in after it. I yelled, "Ma'am, your son is in the water," as loud as I could, but she didn't move. She just sat there scrolling. The boy's head popped up 10 feet from where he fell, crying and splashing, his arms slapping the water. He went under again and came back up further down. I ran into the river. The cold hit my chest and knocked the air out of my lungs. I pushed off the bottom and started swimming. His head dipped under a 3rd time and stayed under longer. I kicked harder. When he came back up, I was close enough to see his face. His eyes were starting to close. I reached out and missed him by a few inches, the water pulling him just past my fingers. The bridge was right behind his head now. I took one more stroke and got a hand on the back of his shirt. The river tried to take us both, and for a second I thought it would. I kicked off the bottom and dragged us sideways out of the current, coughing up water, the boy crying into my shoulder. I carried him to the shore and walked up to her. She finally looked up, saw a soaking stranger holding her son, and started screaming, "My baby! My baby! He's trying to take my baby!" She hadn't heard me scream across the river, but suddenly she found her voice. I called 911. The cops showed up and she was still screaming when they put the cuffs on her. A CPS worker showed up a few minutes later and lifted the boy out of my arms. As they walked the mom to the cruiser, her phone still in her hand, I lifted my middle finger and yelled, "You can tick on this." Me and my grandma were watching a gaming compilation on YouTube when she looked at me and said, "I used to love games as a child. I'm gonna become the best gamer in the whole retirement home." I laughed, but she smirked. "Watch me." The next weekend she bought a gaming PC, but instead of getting a regular pre-built like I recommended, she spent the afternoon researching what she called the meta. Better RAM for faster load times, a 240 Hz monitor, and a gaming chair that she said every pro in the world uses. By that afternoon, she was grinding aim training games with a sticky note on her desk of target accuracy percentages. That evening, after 36 games, she got her first kill. By the end of the week, she got her first victory royale and rewarded herself by ordering a mic so she could talk to other players. Saturday afternoon, she watched me and my friend playing squads and asked to jump in. I laughed, but then she dropped 10 kills in the first match. She taught Tom which snipers are best for which distances and rewrote my controller layout so I could build faster. During one game, it was down to 2 players. The kid on the other side pulled up his mic. Yo, Grandma, you're way too old for this. I'm gonna send you to the retirement home. But then Grandma dropped him with a single headshot. I heard the kid start tearing up, and Grandma held the button on her mic. Cry harder. Me and my friend died laughing. That's when a local tournament popped up. Grandma asked if we wanted to sign up. Tom and I said yes, and Grandma carried us to 3rd place. She walked out of the room smiling with her headset still on. That night, I walked into her room while she was gaming, and while talking to her, accidentally knocked her $200 gaming mouse off the desk. Her hand shot out and she caught it an inch from the floor. I asked her how she just did that. She smiled and said all the gaming had made her reaction times faster than they'd been in 40 years. I realized the gaming had actually made real improvements to her life. I laughed and said I was still better than her. She replied, "No, you're not," then pulled up her stats and showed me her Battle Royale wins. The number was twice as big as mine. Then she laughed. "Also, you might want to start practicing. Joe from the retirement home is catching up to you." The doctor set a 30-minute timer next to my mom's hospital bed and told me if she didn't move by 0, they were letting the family go through with it. "Your grandparents signed the papers this morning. I'm giving you 30 minutes alone with her before I honor them." He pulled the curtain shut and left us alone. She'd been here 11 years. I was 10 when she went under, and now I was 21, sitting in the same chair I sat in the first day. I pulled it close and took her hand. Before all this, she used to tuck me in every night and sing me a lullaby she made up about never leaving me. She told me it was a promise. The timer on the tray ticked to 29 as I leaned in close. "Mom, it's me. I need you to come back." 28 minutes. I told her about the day she taught me to ride my bike, her hand on the back of the seat down the driveway. She let go, and I made it 10 feet before crashing into the Petersons' mailbox. She ran over laughing and brushed gravel off my elbow. "I'm right here, baby. I'm right by your side." 22 minutes, and the line on her monitor never twitched. So I told her about the night I wet the bed when I was 7, and she snuck me into the bathroom and washed the sheets in the tub at 3 in the morning so Dad would never find out. "Our secret baby," she whispered into my ear. 15 minutes, and the monitor still didn't move. So I told her she had a granddaughter with eyes just like hers, who pointed at her picture every night before bed. 8 minutes, and her line was still flat. I grabbed her hand. "Mom, you promised you'd always be by my side. You sang it to me every night for 10 years. But the line on her monitor never moved an inch. At 2 minutes, I just sat there with no idea what else to give her. I climbed up onto the bed and laid down next to her, the way she used to lay down next to me when I was little. I sang her lullaby quiet into her ear, the one she said was a promise. "Through the rain and through the night, I'll always be by your side." Her hand twitched, and the monitor jumped behind me. Her eyes opened for the first time in 11 years and found mine. She kept her promise. I surprised my girlfriend with flowers at work, and she threw them into the trash. "Are you serious? In front of my co-workers? This is so embarrassing." I wasn't expecting her to react like this, but I got